This conference will now be recorded.
Good evening, students. In the today's class, I explained the integration of dynamic equation of gradually varied flow in open channels. We discussed this concept of integration of dynamic equation of gradually varied flow in open channels. In the today's class, we discussed this concept. It is an important concept in Unit 2, and some of the students are unable to understand this concept clearly because of mathematics involved in this concept. Some of you are unable to understand this concept clearly. So for their benefit, I prepared this video lecture and I am posting this video lecture in the WhatsApp group. So please everyone go through this video lecture to understand this integration of dynamic equation of gradually varied flow in open channels. What is the purpose? What is the use of this integration of dynamic equation of gradually varied flow in open channels? Please keep in mind, open channels means the rivers are also open channels. Not only the artificial channels, the rivers are also open channels. Now, the purpose of this integration of gradually varied flow is the dynamic equation of gradually varied flow. The purpose of the integration of the dynamic equation of gradually varied flow is to determine the length of water surface profile in the open channel. To find out this length of the water surface profile in the open channel, we are doing that integration of dynamic equation of gradually varied flow. Already we discussed, we have different types of water surface profiles in the open channels. Some water surface profiles are backwater curves. They are rising in the downstream side. If there is a weir in the open channel, large open channels are having this weir to store the water in the channel. Similarly, we construct the dams to store the river water. So, in the case of weirs and in the case of dams, we have this type of water surface profiles on the upstream side of the dam or in the weir. So check this water surface profile on the upstream side of this weir or the dam. This water surface profile is called backwater curve because the depth of this water surface is rising from upstream to downstream. Now, if I am moving this upstream, this water surface profile is having large length. So, in this diagram, the length of this water surface profile is to be determined. In the case of dams, the length of this water surface profile may be more than 50 to 100 kilometers. In the case of major canals, this length of the water surface profile backwater curve is up to 2 to 3 kilometers. In order to know how much area this water surface profile occupies on the upstream side, how much area this occupies on the upstream side, we must know this length of the water surface profile in the open channel. In order to determine the length of this water surface profile in the open channel, we are using that integration of dynamic equation of gradually varied flow. That is the main purpose. So the integration of dynamic equation of gradually varied flow is useful to find out the length of the water surface profile in open channels, not only for the backwater curves but also for drawdown curves also. We can use this integration of dynamic equation of gradually varied flow. Then in the morning class I explained we have three methods for the integration of dynamic equation of gradually varied flow. The first one is called the single step method or the step method of integration. The second one is called the graphical integration. The third one is called the direct integration. Out of these three methods, in our syllabus, we have the first method, the single step method of integration or the step method of integration. Now, what is this step method of integration? To find out the length of either the backwater surface profile or the drawdown surface profile in open channels. Now coming to this single step method or the step method of integration. In the step method of integration, to find out the length of this water surface profile on the upstream side of the dam or on the upstream side of the weir, first we separate this entire length into small portions. This entire upstream portion is separated into small portions, number of small portions. Then in the single step method or in the step method of integration, we calculate the length of this water surface profile in each small portion. So starting from this upstream end of the weir, from this backside of the weir or from this dam, we separate this entire portion of channel into number of small portions. This entire length of the channel, it may be the river, it may be the major open channel, from this weir or from the dam, we separate this entire upstream portion of the channel into small parts, small portions. The entire length of this channel separated into small portions. Then in each small portion, we calculate the length of the water surface profile in each small portion. Then if you add the length of all the water surface profiles in all the small portions, we can calculate this total length of the water surface profile. That is the main concept in the single step method or the step method of integration, to find out this length of the water surface profile on the open channel. Then in that single step method, we are going to derive one equation to find out the length of this water surface profile in the small portion of the channel. So observe the derivation of equation in that single step method. To find out that equation in that single step method, I consider one small portion in the open channel. Between the section 1, section 2, between these two sections, I consider small portion of the open channel. Take this small portion of channel length as dx. This is the dx length. Check this length. This is the dx length of the small portion of the channel. In this small portion of the channel, we have the water surface profile. This may be either the backwater curve or the drawdown curve. So in this small portion of the channel, this is the water surface profile. Since it is a small portion, the length dx is equal to the length of this water surface profile. Since it is a small portion, the length dx is equal to the length of this water surface profile. Now coming to section 1, in this small portion, at section 1, y1 is the depth of water flow, y1 is called pressure head. Let it section 1, v1 is the velocity of water flow. So at section 1, the kinetic head is v1 square by 2z. Take this channel bottom slope is s0. Take the channel bottom slope is s0. Then s0 is equal to, if this channel bottom making an angle theta with horizontal, tan theta is equal to s0. But tan theta is equal to the distance between the two sections 1 and 2. The distance between two sections 1 and 2, that is dx. And here from this section 1, section 2, from the section 2, let this height of the section 1 is dy. So from this section 2, that is from this point in the channel bottom, let this height of the channel bottom at section 1 is dy. Then tan theta is equal to dy divided by dx. But tan theta is equal to s naught. So s naught is equal to this height dy divided by this length dx. So this height dy is equal to s naught into dx. So at section 1 with respect to this horizontal passing through this section 2 channel bottom is s naught into dx. This is called as the potential head of section 1. So at section 1 the potential head is s naught into dx, the pressure head is y1, the kinetic head is v1 square by 2z. Coming to this section 2, at section 2 there is no potential head because this horizontal line passing through section 2. There is no potential head at section 2. Take this depth of flow at section 2 is y2. y2 is called the pressure head. Take at section 2 velocity is v2. So at section 2 the kinetic head is v2 square by 2z. Then due to this friction on the channel bottom from section 1 to section 2 there is a loss of energy of this water flow, that is hf. Find out that hf, loss of energy, carefully. This is the total energy line in the open channel. Take the slope of the total energy line as sf. The total energy line slope is sf. Then between the section 1 section 2 this is the horizontal distance dx. So the slope sf is equal to this vertical height hf. This is the vertical height at section 2 hf divided by the horizontal distance dx. So the slope sf is equal to hf divided by dx. So this hf is equal to loss of the energy. hf is equal to sf into dx. So at section 2 the potential head is 0. The pressure head is y2. The kinetic head is v2 square by 2z, and the loss of energy hf is equal to sf into dx. Now at section 1 the total energy at section 1 is equal to s naught into dx, that is this potential head plus the pressure head is y1 plus the kinetic head is v1 square by 2z. At section 2 the total energy of this water flow at section 2 is y2, that is the pressure head, plus the kinetic head v2 square by 2z plus hf, loss of energy sf into dx. So apply the Bernoulli's equation at section 1 and section 2. According to that, the total energy at section 1 is equal to total energy at section 2. So you will get this equation. As per the Bernoulli's principle, between the section 1 and section 2, this is the energy equation. S naught into dx, the potential head at section 1 plus y1, the pressure head at section 1 plus v1 square by 2z, the kinetic head is at section 1 is equal to y2, the potential at section 2 plus v2 square by 2z, that is the kinetic at section 2 plus sf into dx, loss of hf. Then check this two terms on the left side. y1 plus v1 square by 2z. It is the sum of the pressure head and this kinetic head. You know that the sum of the pressure head and kinetic head is the specific energy at section 1, that is capital E1. Similarly on the right hand side, y2 plus v2 square by 2z. y2 is the pressure head at section 2, v2 square by 2z is the kinetic head at section 2. So this is the specific energy at section 2 E2. So this equation 1 changes as S naught into dx plus E1. Specific energy at section 1 is equal to E2 specific energy at section 2 in plus SF into dx. So the equation 2 changes like this. S naught into dx plus E1 is equal to E2 plus SF into dx. From this equation, you can write this E2 minus E1. From this equation, E2 minus E1 is equal to S naught minus SF into dx. E2 minus E1 is the change in specific energy from section 1 to section 2, that is equal to delta E. Delta E is the change of specific energy from section 1 to section 2. So from this equation, you will get this length dx. The length dx is equal to delta E divided by S0 minus SF. Please everyone watch this equation. In this equation, the length dx, it is the length of the water surface profile in the small portion of channel. Just now I explained, we consider the small portion of channel between the section 1 and the section 2. In that small portion of channel, the length of the water surface profile is dx. So in the equation 2, dx is the length of the water surface profile in the small portion of channel, delta E. The change in the specific energy from section 1 to section 2, S0, the channel bottom slope. SF is the total energy line slope from section 1 to section 2. So by using this equation 2, we can calculate the length of water surface profile dx in the small portion of the channel. This equation 2 is called, we call this equation 2 as the integration of dynamic equation of gradually varied flow in the single step method or the step method of integration. That is, the equation 2 is called the integration of dynamic equation of gradually varied flow. Gradually varied flow in the open channel in the single step method or the step method of integration. Now coming to the procedure. How can you use this equation 2 in this method to find out this length dx of the water surface profile in each small portion of the channel? For that, in the single step method, we have the detailed procedure. There is a procedure in the single step method. That procedure is based on the equation 2. I am going to explain that procedure in the single step method to find out the length dx of the water surface profile in the small portion of open channel. In order to apply this single step method in the open channels, this may be major open channel or the reverse. When you are going to apply the single step method in the open channels to find out the length of the backwater curve, compulsorily we should know certain parameters. In the single step method, these are all those parameters. In the single step method, first we should know the discharge of flow in the open channel. This should be known. Then only we can apply the single step method. Without knowing the discharge of water flow in the open channel, you cannot apply that single step method. So when you are applying the single step method in the open channels, first we should know the discharge of flow in that open channel. Then the second one, we should also know the shape of the open channel, rectangle, triangle, trapezoidal, like that. We should also know the shape of the open channel. We should also know the channel bottom slope. We should also know the Chassis constant or the Manning's constant of the open channel. And we should also know the depth of flow at control section in that open channel. If you know all these 5 values, then only we can use the single step method to find out the length of water surface profile in the open channel. So please everyone check these 5 values known in the single step method of integration. When you are using this single step method, it is also called the step method of integration to find out the length of the water surface profile in the open channel. First we should know the value of discharge of water flow in the open channel. We should also know the shape of the channel. We should also know the channel bottom slope S0. We should also know the Chassis constant or Manning's constant of that open channel. The Chassis constant and Manning's constant depending upon the material of the open channel, channel bottom material. Then the fifth one is we should also know the depth of water flow at control section in the open channel. By knowing all these values, we can use that single step method to find out the length of the water surface profile in the open channel. What is that control section? Already explained. In the control section, there is a relationship between the depth of flow and the discharge Q. That is this control section. If this is a weir or if this is a dam, this is the location of the control section. So at control section, we should know this depth of flow either by using measuring scales or some other procedure. We should know this depth of water flow from this channel bottom to control section. We should know this depth of water flow in the single step method. Then in order to find out the length of this water surface profile in the open channel, to find out this length of the water surface profile from this control section, we are moving in the upstream direction. So in the single step method, from this control section, we separate this entire channel into small portions. So section 1 at control section. Here in this single step method, we know the discharge Q, we know the shape of the channel, we know the Chassis constant and Manning's constant, we know this channel bottom slope, and also we know the depth of flow at control section. So take the section 1 at control section and take the section 2. Take the section 2 nearer to this control section on the upstream side. Section 1 at control section. Section 2 little bit away from this control section on the upstream side, not far away. At a small distance from this control section, take the section 2. Check this water surface profile. From section 1 to section 2, the water surface profile is decreasing. So at section 1, we have the large depth of flow. At section 2, we have lesser depth of flow. So like this, in the single step method, first we consider the section 1 at control section, and at section 2, take the depth of flow at section 2 lesser than the depth of flow at section 1. At section 1, we know the depth of flow either by measuring scales or some other procedure. We know the depth of flow at section 1. Take the depth of flow at section 1 as 50 meters. If the depth of flow at section 1 is 50 meters, at section 2, the depth of flow little bit lesser value. It is 49 meters like that, because this water surface profile is downwards. From section 1 to section 2, the water surface profile is downward. At section 2, the depth of flow is less than the depth of flow at section 1. So at section 2, take the depth of flow little bit smaller than the depth of flow at section 1. Now coming to this section 1. At section 1, we know the depth of flow, that is Y1, that is known. At section 1, we know the discharge Q. By knowing the shape of this channel and this depth of flow, we calculate the wetted area of the channel at section 1. By knowing the shape of this channel and the depth of flow at section 1, we can calculate the wetted area at section 1. Since you know the discharge in this channel, divide the discharge with wetted area at section 1, we get the velocity at section 1. So divide the discharge with the wetted area at section 1, we can know the velocity of flow at section 1. We know the depth of flow at section 1. We know the velocity of flow at section 1. So calculate the specific energy at section 1. Specific energy at section 1 is equal to y plus v square by 2z. Y is the depth of flow at section 1. V is the velocity of flow at section 1. So find out the specific energy of water flow at section 1 by using the depth of flow and the velocity at section 1. Find out the specific energy E1 at section 1. Then we know this channel bottom slope S0. Then find out the total energy line slope at section 1. SF is the total energy line slope. To find out the total energy line slope, you can use Chassis equation. In gradually varied flow, the Chassis equation V is equal to velocity of flow. V is equal to C Chassis constant into root R, that is the hydraulic radius, into SF, that is the equation of velocity of flow in the gradually varied flow in open channels. So in this water surface profile, it is a gradually varied flow. So at control section, the specific energy E1 is equal to depth of flow Y plus V square by 2Z. Then find out the total energy line slope SF at section 1. Use the Chassis equation to find out the slope of the total energy line. According to Chassis equation, in the gradually varied flow, the velocity of flow V is equal to C root R into SF. C is the Chassis constant, that is also known. R is the hydraulic radius at section 1. Since you know the shape of this channel, find out the wetted area at section 1, find out the wetted perimeter at section 1. So calculate the hydraulic radius at section 1. R is equal to A by P. So at section 1, that is at control section, we know the velocity of flow, V is known, C is known, R is also known, hydraulic radius is also known. Find out the slope of the energy line SF at section 1. Then coming to section 2. Section 2 is nearer to section 1. At section 2, the depth of flow is less than the depth of flow at section 1. Take the depth of flow at section 2 little bit smaller than the depth of flow at section 1. Then by using the depth of flow at section 2, find out the wetted area at section 2. Since you know this channel shape, by using the depth of flow at section 2, please remember the depth of flow at section 2 is less than the depth of flow at section 1. So by using the depth of flow at section 2, calculate the wetted area of the channel, calculate the velocity of flow at section 2. By knowing the wetted area and by knowing the discharge Q, you can find out the velocity at section 2. You know the depth of flow at section 2, Y2 is known, velocity is also known. Find out the specific energy at section 2. At section 2, the specific energy is the depth of flow Y plus velocity at V square by 2Z. Then find out the total energy line slope at section 2. Find out the total energy line slope at section 2. Use the Chassis equation. V is equal to C root R into SF. Find out the total energy line slope at section 2. Now, in the single step method, we calculate the total energy line slope at section 1 and also the total energy line slope at section 2. Take the average of those two values. Take the average of the total energy line slope at section 1 and the total energy line slope at section 2. So at section 1, we know the specific energy E1. At section 2, we know the specific energy E2. Then we know the average of the total energy line slope from section 1 to section 2. We know this channel bottom slope S0. By knowing the specific energy at section 1 E1, the specific energy at section 2 E2, the channel bottom slope S0, and the average of the total energy line slope from section 1, between section 1 and section 2, the length of the water surface profile from section 1 to section 2. If dx is the length of this water surface profile from section 1 to section 2, according to single step method, dx is equal to E1 minus E2 divided by S0 minus SF. That is the equation in the single step method to find out this length of the water surface profile from section 1 to section 2. Then take the section 3 nearer to section 2. Take the section 3 nearer to section 2. At section 3, this is the section 3. At section 3, the depth of flow is less than the depth of flow at section 2. If section 2 depth of flow is 49 meters, take the depth of flow at section 3 as 48 meters. Find out the wetted area at section 2 at section 3. Find out the wetted area at section 3 by knowing the shape of the channel and the depth of flow at section 3. Calculate the velocity of flow at section 3 because you know the discharge. Then find out the specific energy at section 3. Section 3 specific energy is equal to depth of flow plus V square by 2Z. Find out the total energy line slope at section 3. The total energy line slope at section 3 is equal to, use the Chezy's equation, V is equal to C root R into SF. Find out the total energy line slope at section 3. Now, between the section 2 and section 3, at section 2, we have the total energy line slope. At section 3 also, we have the total energy line slope. Find out the average of those two total energy line slopes at section 2 and section 3. Find out the average value of SF. Then use the dynamic equation of single step method. Between the section 2 and section 3, the length of this water surface profile dx is equal to, between the section 2 section 3, the length of the water surface profile dx is equal to E2 specific energy at section 2 minus specific energy at section 3 divided by S0 minus SF. That is the average total energy line slope from between the section 2 and section 3. Repeat this process. Take the section 4. Repeat the process. Find out the length of the water surface profile between the section 3 and section 4 and section 5, section 6, like that. So take the number of sections on the upstream side till the depth of flow is becoming equal to nearly same between the two sections. After some distance, the depth of flow becomes the same for the successive sections. Repeat this process up to the distance. Every time we are calculating the length of the water surface from section 1 to section 2, section 2 to section 3, section 3 to section 4, section 4 to section 5, like that. Find out this length of the water surface profile. Finally, add all these length of the water surface profiles. You will get this total length of the water surface profile on the upstream side of this channel. This is the single step method or the step method of integration to find out this length of the water surface profile on the upstream side of the dam or the river. Please go through this video lecture. Still, if you have any doubts, you please discuss with me.